right, with Caitlin Clark, led the league in attendance both home and on the road.
And you're not going to get around that. That is what I said.
When I think about Caitlin Clark, the operative word that comes to my mind is gratitude. There's an incredible level of gratitude that should be accorded to this young lady with what she did for the sport. She has you transfixed on the entire league. That's why I brought up Michael Jordan and Larry Bird. How all of a sudden that's in the mind's eye of everybody else. You clearly have this person, Caitlin Clark, to thank for it.
About what happened to Caitlin Clark. They'll be back in playoff action tomorrow against the Connecticut Sun in an elimination game.
So for me, it's not just about talking about one player. It's about talking about all the players.
Where are the people that Stephen A? Oh, she don't do this. She not gonna do that. Let her cook.
Well, I mean, if you want to talk about bullies, we can talk about every time Caitlin has the ball, she pushes off.
Imagine being the best in your game, winning multiple MVPs, and still not getting the recognition you deserve. That's A'ja Wilson's reality right now. But Caitlin Clark, she's got Adidas backing her big time. What's the deal with that? Let's talk about the bombshell that just dropped. Caitlin Clark, fresh out of college, just landed a $28 million deal with Adidas. That's insane money for a rookie, but here's what's even crazier. A'ja Wilson, with her multiple MVP awards, still doesn't have a signature shoe from Nike. Can you believe it? You know what's wild? This isn't just about fancy sneakers and fat paychecks. There's way more to this story than meets the eye. We're talking about a situation that's shaking up the whole world of women's basketball. And trust me, you won't believe what's really going on behind the scenes. Let's talk about a tale of two ballers that's got everyone buzzing. Caitlin Clark and A'ja Wilson. Two stars, two very different stories. You think more attention on women's basketball would be good for everyone, right? But what if it's not? There's a storm brewing between these game changers, and it's about to shake up everything we thought we knew about the WNBA. First up, Caitlin Clark. This rookie sensation is breaking records left and right. She's not just good, she's rewriting the playbook.
That Caitlin Clark should have been on the team ahead of the 12 people selected ahead of her because of basketball.
If you're going to break a record, to me, if it's legitimate, you have to break that record in the same amount of time that that player set.
And so I just assume that all the social justice, racial justice warrior people would be up in arms and be like, hey, we got to call balls and strikes here.
What I will clear up is that for whatever reason, there's this narrative that I hate Caitlin Clark.
The woman single-handedly carrying the WNBA to relevancy.
In her first season, Clark led all rookies in points, field goals, assists, steals, and minutes played. We're talking an average of 21.9 points and 10.5 assists per game. That's not rookie numbers, that's superstar status right out of the gate. Now, flip the script to A'ja Wilson. This woman is a force of nature on the court. Multiple MVP awards, dominating games like it's nobody's business. In 2023, she was putting up 22.8 points and 9.5 rebounds per game. Wilson's been the face of women's basketball, carrying the torch and inspiring a whole generation of players. But here's where things get wild. Clark's games are pulling in over 1 million viewers on average. That's a 400% boost for the WNBA. It's like someone flipped a switch and suddenly everyone's tuning in. They're calling it the Caitlin Clark effect, and it's real. And you'd think all this attention would be great for the league, right? More eyes on the game, more fans in the seats. But it's not that simple. While Clark's star is rising, other players are feeling left in the shadows, and that's where the drama starts. A'ja Wilson, with all her accolades and dominance, still doesn't have her own signature shoe. Can you believe it?
Man, this certainly looks racist. And so I had the team. I was like, hey, tell me what ESPN says about this. Caitlin Clark has made this league relevant, and this deranged bigot.
When I think about Caitlin Clark, the operative word that comes to my mind is gratitude. There's an incredible level of gratitude that should be accorded to this young lady with what she did for the sport. I look at it from that standpoint and I say mad respect. Are there other players in the WNBA that are better? Yes.
Meanwhile, Clark's got this massive $28 million deal with Adidas. That's some serious cash for a rookie, and it's got people talking. Wilson's not staying quiet about it either. She's speaking up, saying it's not just about Caitlyn, it's about recognizing that there's excitement around the WNBA that we haven't seen before. But is all this focus on Clark fair to other stars who've been grinding for years? The crazy thing is, this isn't just about who's the better player. It's about something much bigger. We're seeing a shift in how brands choose who to back, and it's not just about points on the scoreboard anymore. This whole situation is forcing us to look at some tough questions. Is it fair that one player's success might overshadow others? How do we balance celebrating new talent while honoring the veterans who've built the league?
First NBA playoffs, first NBA season, and she's wearing Kobe Bryant's shoes. They don't even have a shoe for her. And so I foolishly assumed, play the video of Carrington nailing Caitlin Clark.
She has you transfixed on the entire league. That's why I brought up Michael Jordan and Larry Bird.
Well, guess what, ladies and gentlemen? That's why you should have had Caitlin Clark.
How all of a sudden, that's in the mind's eye of everybody else. You clearly have this person, Caitlin Clark, to thank for it.
And what does this mean for the future of women's basketball? You think it's all about points and rebounds? Think again. There's a whole other game being played off the court, and it's got nothing to do with basketball skills. We're talking about the color of a player's skin and how it might matter more than their stats when it comes to landing big deals.
About what happened to Caitlin Clark. They'll be back in playoff action tomorrow against the Connecticut Sun in an elimination game.
Now it's 8 figures, so that could be 10 million or 99 million.
Right.
Correct?
So for me, it's not just about talking about one player. It's about talking about all the players.
The woman who is allowing all of these other spoiled, entitled brats to fly private to basketball games.
Yeah, you heard that right. This isn't just about who's sinking more three-pointers anymore. Aja Wilson dropped a truth bomb that's got everyone talking. She said successful black women often get overlooked in this industry. That's not just trash talk. That's a serious accusation that's shaking up the whole WNBA. Now, let's talk about Caitlin Clark for a second. Some folks are saying her success isn't just about her killer crossover or her deadly jump shot. They're saying it's partly because she's white in a sport that's mostly black. Is that fair? Is it true? These are the questions that are making everyone uncomfortable, but we've got to face them head on. This whole situation is forcing us to take a hard look at how brands pick who they want to sponsor. It's not just about who's leading the league in scoring or who's got the most championship rings. There's a whole other playbook that these companies are using, and it's got people like Aja Wilson fired up. You know what's wild? This debate is bigger than just basketball. It's about how we value different people in our society. It's about who gets the spotlight and who gets left in the shadows. And let me tell you, it's not always pretty. But here's the thing, this controversy could be a game changer. It's got people talking about issues that have been swept under the rug for too long. Maybe, just maybe, this is the wake-up call that the sports industry needs. Think about it. If brands start to really look at their biases and rethink their strategies, we could see a whole new playing field. One where talent and hard work are the only things that matter, regardless of what you look like or where you come from.
Where all the people that Stephen A? Oh, she don't do this. She not gonna do that. Let her cook.
Why isn't she being promoted, and how did Nike get her at such a reasonable, wasn't it a 22 or 32?
$28 million.
$28 million.
Well, I mean, if you want to talk about bullies, we can talk about every time Caitlyn has the ball, she pushes off.
As close as we'll probably ever get to Tanya Harding, Nancy Kerrigan all over again.
This isn't just about Aja Wilson or Caitlin Clark anymore. It's about every young girl who's out there dribbling a basketball, dreaming of making it big. It's about making sure that dream is just as real for a kid from the inner city as it is for one from the suburb. So yeah, we're talking about more than just sneaker deals and endorsements. We're talking about changing the whole game. And let me tell you, change ain't always easy, but sometimes it's necessary. This situation with Wilson and Clark, it's like a mirror being held up to the sports world. And not everyone likes what they see, but you know what? Sometimes you've got to face the ugly truth to make things better. So what's next? Are we going to see brands stepping up and diversifying their athlete roster? Will we see more black women athletes getting the recognition they deserve? Or is this just going to be another flash in the pan that everyone forgets about in a few weeks? One thing's for sure. The conversation isn't going away anytime soon, and that's a good thing, because as long as we're talking about it, there's a chance for real change. Change is in the air, but not everyone's keeping up.
Caitlin Clark got you watching the league because it wasn't just her. You wanted to see who eventually she was going to end up going against.
That's her last name. She bumped into her, sped up. Let her cook.
There is no way in hell you just accidentally left Caitlin Clark's name out of that soliloquy that you dropped about the Indiana Fever. Stop it.
But if I'm Caitlin Clark, I'd have told Skylar Diggins, get your coat,
As she broke the WNBA single-season rookie mark for assists, Stephen A.
You know who dropped the ball, the company that tells us to just do it. Turns out, Nike didn't do much at all, and now they're watching their biggest competitor run away with the prize. Let's talk about Nike's epic fumble. They signed Caitlin Clark, the hottest rookie in women's basketball. And then nothing. No ads, no merch, no buzz. It's like they forgot they had a superstar on their roster. What were they thinking? While Nike was sleeping on Clark, Adidas was wide awake. They swooped in with a massive $28 million deal, snatching Clark right from under Nike's nose. That's not just a deal, that's a statement. Adidas is saying, we see the future of women's sports and we're all in. But here's the kicker, Nike's been so focused on their established stars like Aja Wilson, they might have missed the next big thing. Don't get me wrong, Wilson is a powerhouse.
For other players coming in, right? So people say, dang, like he or she's killing them. But you have a 25-year-old playing against a 20-year-old.
I mean, it's genius to be able to sign her up, because think of all of the girls and women out there who loved Caitlin Clark.
In regards to Clark, starting with WNBA legend Cheryl Swoops herself.
The woman who gives them a glimmer of hope that the WNBA won't lose $50 million this year like they have every other year in their existence.
But in the fast-paced world of sports marketing, playing it safe can be the riskiest move of all. Imagine being Nike right now. You've got this incredible talent, this game changer, and you let her slip through your fingers. It's like having the winning lottery ticket and forgetting to cash it in. That's gotta hurt. And it's not just about losing Clark, it's about what Clark represents. She's bringing in viewers like nobody's business. We're talking a 400% boost in WNBA viewership. That's not just good for Clark, that's good for the whole league. And now Adidas gets to ride that wave. But let's zoom out for a second. This isn't just about one player or one deal. This is about the future of women's sports marketing. Nike's stumble could be the wake-up call the industry needs. It's showing everyone that there's a huge appetite for women's sports, and brands need to step up their game. Think about it. How many other rising stars are out there, just waiting to be recognized? How many potential game changers are being overlooked because companies are sticking to their old playbooks? This whole situation is forcing brands to rethink their strategies. It's not enough to just sign athletes anymore. You've got to have a plan. You've got to be ready to promote them, to build their brand along with yours. Adidas gets it. They're not just signing Clark, they're investing in her potential to change the game. So what's next for Nike? They've still got Wilson, still got plenty of star power, but this Clark situation, it's gotta sting. It's like watching your ex show up to the party with someone new and everyone's talking about how great they look together. Nike's strategy might have just cost them big time, and it's not just about money, it's about the future of women's sports marketing. They had the next big thing in their hands and they let her go. That's the kind of mistake that keeps executives up at night. But here's the silver lining. This could be the kick in the pants that women's sports marketing needs. Maybe now we'll see more investment, more attention, more respect for these incredible athletes. Maybe Nike's loss will be women's sports gain. All right, let's wrap this up. We've got Clark landing a massive Adidas deal, Wilson feeling left out, and Nike fumbling big time. But this isn't just about sneakers and contracts. It's about race, gender, and who gets the spotlight in women's sports.
I said marketing matters in everything. Promotion matters in everything.
We talk about league attendance. The Indiana Fever, all right, with Caitlin Clark, led the league in attendance both home and on the road.
And you're not going to get around that. That is what I said.
So she couldn't get that double-digit assist record 3 consecutive games with at least 20 points.
I think we see that. We see the capability on the basketball court. She can shoot, she can handle, she certainly can pass, okay?
Aja Wilson said it best. You can be top-notch as a black woman, but maybe that's something people don't want to see. That's a tough pill to swallow, but it's got everyone talking. So what's next for women's basketball? Are we gonna see more diversity in who gets the big deals? Will other brands step up their game? This isn't just about Clark or Wilson anymore. It's about every fan, every player, and every brand in the game. The rules are changing, folks. Are you ready for it?